hit between the first and second floors, and between corridors 4 and 5, and skidded on the ground almost through all 5 wings of the Pentagon, but did not get through to the last ring to the center courtyard. I survived because I was in an office suite that was abutting corridor 4, but not between corridors 4 and 5. I was on the top floor, not the bottom. I was only a half corridor away, high enough to feel the impact, but not be hurt. Had the center courtyard been breached, crowds of escaping people, including myself, could have been severely burned and killed. We truly live by the grace of God. Here are some of my miscellaneous thoughts. First, the Pentagon never closed. After the authorities decided the structure was sound, employees who worked in areas not directly affected went back to work. Many of them were in areas where they still breathed remnants of the smoke spread through the air conditioning. I believe keeping the Pentagon open was a show of resilience and strength against our attackers. Second, after literally being in a battle zone, all the federal workers were given $150 in hazardous duty pay. I give political brownie points to Congress for that. Third, months later, a chapel was in the works and was to be right where the plane crashed. Everyone who was there during 9/11 was given a small glass token identical to a stained glass piece in the chapel window. It had a numbered location, so in the stained glass piece, so we could find our own piece later on if we went to visit the chapel. Fourth, later the federal government offered some psychological group counseling, and I went to one session. There I met people with worse stories than mine. One person walking across the parking lot saw the plane coming in, banking so low that he thought he needed to duck. Another had escaped death because she had a doctor's appointment and arrived late to work. She would have been in the doomed area. After 9/11, Air Force planes circled the city nightly for weeks, maybe even months. I'd wake up hearing the droning closing in and fading. It always scared me, so my husband would have to reassure me that we were safe to enable me to go back to sleep. Since 9/11, I've been very wary of being in crowds or tight places where it's difficult to get out. There are survivors from our accounting office who were heroes, pulling out injured friends and saving lives while risking theirs. I'm sure they still have flashbacks of their own fears and maybe a little sadness for not being able to save everyone. There are other parts of my story I don't have time to tell, but I've saved the most important part for last. I lost 8 friends. 7 were my co-workers in our DIA accounting office located on the first floor, almost a direct hit. I had been good friends with 2 of the 7 during the years all 3 of us worked for Air Force and DIA. In fact, I was responsible for urging one of them to apply for a promotion in DIA that she was selected for, and then a few years later died for. I felt guilty about that. The 7 DIA people were all killed in the Pentagon. The 8th person was a close friend, co-worker of my husband and me for many years. He was a newlywed and was on duty flying on Flight 77 when it hit the Pentagon. If he had been working as usual in the Pentagon on Corridor 2, second floor, he would have survived. At this time, I would like to read the names of my friends who died and give a short, respectful silence for them and their families who are still missing them. They are Patty Mickley, Rosemary Chapa, Sandra Foster, Robert Hemel, Shelley Marshall, Carl Teepee, Charles Saban, and Brian Jacks. Can we just take a few seconds of silence, please? In conclusion, I was finally able to visit the lovely, serene Pentagon Memorial last summer and pick out the benches of my friends. For me, the visit there and speaking here today are sad, but part of my very long journey toward healing. Thank you for your attention and patience.